Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Neon, and we're going to talk about unionization. 7Seas, the manga publisher, has voted to unionize, but the union is not being recognized. This is the second somewhat high-profile comic book union attempt in the last 6 or 8 months. Image Comics tried to unionize last fall, last summer, I don't know. Anyway, we're going to talk about this because I think I kind of have a feeling as to what is going on. I think that there are people working in comics and in media and gaming who realize that the pendulum is swinging and they are expendable. They've made themselves very expendable by turning everything into a political conversation, by promoting activism over sales, maybe being disagreeable and argumentative at work. And I think that this is an attempt to cash out. In some cases, not every case, but I think that in some cases, this is an attempt to make sure that when your boss does get rid of you, they have to buy you out, kind of like Kickstarter. Kickstarter had to buy out their unionized employees, like Camilla Zhang. They had to buy her out. And other companies have been buying out activist employees. Coinbase was doing it. And I think these people know that their time is limited, so they're going to make sure they have a nice cushion. God, Netflix. There were people who were working at Netflix that were there just for a couple of months, and I think they got a package. And CNN Plus, they worked for like 3 weeks, and they got a package. This is my own personal opinion, and because we're seeing an unprecedented number of unions being started as the economy heads into a recession. And I really got to wonder if this isn't what's going on. So let's talk about this. Before we get into it any further, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. Over 268,000 subs. Geeky is sitting this one out. She will be back later today. And I've been giving a lot of thought to this, and I've been giving a lot of thought to the pendulum swing and how quickly it's happening. We hit a couple of bumps in the road in the stock market. And we look at the recession coming up, and it's very obvious that companies like Netflix and Warner Brothers and so many others are rethinking their business model. Because the thing is that companies espousing activism and gambling on alienating half or more of their audience to chase Twitter clout, it doesn't pay. And it's a luxury. It's you have to have money coming in to be able to gamble in that way. And they've been able to gamble in that way for years with, venture capital and, relatively healthy stock market. We had a couple of bumps with the pandemic, but there was extra money. And now the money is running out. So let's talk about 7Seas, which is a manga publisher. We talked about them before, and I think we have some of their books, but they got busted last year. It was about a year ago for heavily censoring Mushoku Tensei, which is actually a pretty good. I've been watching the anime; it's actually pretty good. But they censored the light novels, and apparently, I think they had to go back and reprint them and give customers the unedited version because it went beyond just adapting or having a different translation. They actually were censoring the books heavily, which, and I'm looking into 7Seas, and it does seem like they have, I would believe, activist type employees working there. So now they're going to unionize. So we'll talk about the union first. And of course, it's with the Communications Workers of America, CWA, the same people that push for Image Comics to unionize. And I think this is, again, an attempt to cash out because you know that your employers could potentially get rid of you because you're not bringing anything to the table. And it's weird because right now manga sales are through the roof. And I have friends who work for manga publishers, and they said they can't keep up, that the presses are tied up for months, that they're selling out of books like any kind of a book very, very quickly. And you'd think that 7Seas would be benefiting from that. And that could also be motivation too. Like, oh, things are good now. Let's hold our employers hostage, right? So this is coming from ICV2, which is, again, actually a very reputable, business-focused comic book industry website. 7C's staff organizes could be the first U.S. manga publisher to unionize. 7C's entertainment staffers have formed United Workers of 7C's with Communications Workers of America, which is, again, the same people, I believe, that were behind the Image Comics Union, and are seeking recognition. The group announced if they're successful, 7C's would be the first manga publisher in the U.S. to unionize. The website states the company has grown exponentially since the start of the COVID-19 pandemic. Yes, because manga sales are through the roof. But with rapid growth comes growing pains, and we, the workers of 7C's, have been shouldering much of that pain. Look, I'm not saying they're not working hard. They probably are. They're probably working hard to keep up. Again, I have friends working for other publishers, and they said that it's just been absolutely bonkers insane trying to keep up with the demand. But there's something else going on here. And again, the CWA is involved. There's definitely something else going on here. We find ourselves overworked, underpaid, and we do not currently receive the benefits otherwise typical of the publishing industry. According to organizers, the company has grown from about 10 employees in 2018 to 40 at present. 30 signed the statement on the website. It's UW7S. The organizers are taking a lighthearted approach on social media, playing off the publisher's name and nautical theme with two pirate cat mascots, Bartholomew and Nyankola, and the hashtags making waves. Our flags mean union and isekai possible. They get serious on their website, however, with a list of goals that include healthcare, pension benefits, paid time off, sick time, vacation, holidays. Okay, well, if they're full-time, higher pay, merit and cost of living increases, and a transparent wage structure, a more manageable schedule and overtime pay for crunch times, an end to at-will employment and unnecessary permalancing. Okay, again, this is my theory. This is my theory of what's going on here, and we'll talk more about it once we go through their demands, but they basically got shot down by the publisher. Was it Weingarten Rights, which entitles employees to union representation during investigatory interviews. Better rates for freelancers across the board. Clearly defined job titles and organizational chart. Better training materials and onboarding procedures, more administrators to track deadlines, maintain the company's database, management training for managers and supervisors. Most of these seem pretty reasonable. Management training for managers, okay. An end to prohibition on staff doing freelance work on their own time, anti-harassment and discrimination policies, as well as procedures for submitting grievances, end-of-year bonuses. End-of-year bonuses. Well, if they're not profitable. Reimbursement for costs of working remotely, improved communication between departments, including quarterly updates, increased staff in several departments. 7C's management can voluntarily recognize the union or require a vote, which would be overseen by the National Labor Relations Board. The company did not respond to requests for comment. Well, they shot it down. Now, Image Comics employees these are all CWA. Paizo and Image Comics are CWA. CWA is basically going around and trying to find disgruntled workers, I think, at different geek industries. As my personal opinion. I think what's actually going on here, and I do understand. I mean, right now, manga publishers are very, very busy. And if you're working full time and you're not getting benefits, and you're putting in more hours, absolutely. You're gonna, and you're looking at the money coming in, you're gonna be like, what the actual hell? That being said, though, I don't trust CWA. I think that they're no good nicks. I think that they're predatory. I think they go out of their way to find unhappy workers. And they've really been hitting the geek scene pretty hard. CWA is also behind the Activision Blizzard union too. So they're actively seeking out people who work in geek industries who are disgruntled, and they're trying to get them to unionize. And some people are biting. Paizo's biting. Image Comics did not recognize the union, and now 7C's did not recognize the union either. So this is the update. This is today, and I have to give a hat tip to CCG for sending this over. Manga publisher 7C's Entertainment has provided ICV2 with an official statement responding to its employees' announcement last week they intend to unionize. The publisher will not voluntarily recognize United Workers of 7 Seas, so employees will now vote on the question in an election supervised by the National Labor Relations Board. 7 Seas statement says, "We respect the rights of our employees to choose or not choose union representation. While we have been requested by a number of employees to voluntarily recognize the CWA as their legal representative without an NLRB conducted election, we have decided to respect the right of all eligible employees to vote on the issue. Since unionization would affect more members of the staff than those who have already come forward, an election will ensure that everyone has the opportunity to learn about their rights and the details of this process before they cast their vote through a governed process. We have notified the NLRB that we are prepared to move forward with an election among an appropriate unit of employees, and we will, of course, abide by the outcome of the election." In their initial announcement, the employees stated 7 Seas has over 40 employees, 30 signed the statement that they are organizing. The union vote requires a simple majority. So they're not voluntarily recognizing it. Now, Image was a little more aggressive, I think, and some of the founders especially were very aggressive. But I think what's going on here is they're seeing the money coming in for Manga, and they're also worried that they could be tossed overboard. And again, I'm not trying to use the sailing analogy here, but it does look like they have a staff of quote unquote woke workers. And I have to wonder if there's some behind the scenes drama. And I'm going to tell you, and this isn't to look, I think unions in some cases are good. I think in some cases they're necessary. It depends on the industry and depends on the circumstances. I think if you're looking for simply for better working conditions, yeah. I think in this case, they were very smart since they saw what happened with Image. They made sure that they did not put a demand in there saying that they could dictate the editorial content of the publisher. That was a smart move because I think that was the big one that rubbed people the wrong way with the attempt to unionize at Image Comics. But you're also putting yourself in the crosshairs because companies, if they're not going to voluntarily recognize the union, even if you unionize, in a lot of cases, they'll just find a way to get rid of you. Oh, hey, we took a downturn in the economy. Wow, we got to lay people off. Well, okay, what's the contract say? This is what we got to pay you to get rid of you. Okay, see ya. And look, I've seen it time and time and time again at many companies I've worked for where, a lot of times you think that being in a union is actually going to protect you. But in some cases, if the company was against unionization, I've actually worked at a company one time that the owner sold off the division that unionized just to get rid of the union. I am not kidding. And he was actually pretty reasonable. He was a pretty reasonable owner, but now he was a commercial printer and he published printed a lot of the magazines and newspapers and stuff. I mean, big national printer. And his pressmen were some of the highest paid on the East Coast. And he literally was so angry about the union because he's like, I don't know what else I can do. They're already getting paid very, very well. Everybody's treated, in his opinion, treated very, very well, but they want more and they want to unionize. And he's like, I'm too old for this shit. So he literally split the company and he kept the publishing side. He published magazines and newspapers and stuff himself. He kept that side of it and he sold off the commercial printer to somebody else because he did not want to deal with the union. And I think since they were changing hands, changing ownership, they had the option of laying people off or just starting over because you're no longer dealing with the same company. You had a contract with him and now you have a contract with me and we don't need your position anymore. So, I mean, you'd be surprised, but not surprised, what lengths these companies go to get rid of unionized employees. And it sounds to me like this is happening because twofold, they are seeing manga sales explode and there might be some behind the scenes drama and they're afraid of getting fired. I mean, there was a hell of a lot of backlash over, the censorship at 7 Seas. And I'm sure it cost the publisher a lot of money to reprint books. And God only knows what kinds of conversations they've had behind the scenes. And, I'm seeing it all over the place. A lot of these media companies are the employees are trying to unionize because they know if they unionize and they get laid off, they get like 6 months of severance or something, whatever they worked out. And some companies like Kickstarter are willing to pay it just to get rid of problematic employees. So that's why things going on here. And I think that's why CWA is swooping in, because you look at Activision Blizzard and they just got sold to, or they're going to be sold to Microsoft, which means a lot of these people might be out of a job, which means that they're going to get a nice cushy payday if they get laid off, So yeah, I see why they're doing it right now. But I think long term, I think it's going to absolutely bite some of these people in the ass. And I'm sorry, I am. I'm not, I'm not rooting for anybody to get their asses kicked. If you legit are being overworked and undercompensated, you always have the option of going someplace else too. I don't know why people don't do that. Like the job market, there are so many jobs out there. So many jobs out there. But I think they're concerned with the recession coming, that their positions could be eliminated for whatever reason. So they want to make sure they have a cushy plan, and I don't blame them for that. I mean, I got blindsided one time with a layoff and I didn't even get 2 weeks notice. They were just like, thanks for everything you've done. You're done. As of today, you're done. Your department's done. Everybody's done. Per the law, we don't really owe you anything. So I hope to God you've saved some money because, you're done. And that's hard. It is hard. But I do think in many cases, employees are kind of blackmailing the people they work for too, which is not good. And you are putting yourself, on the radar for termination the first chance they get, if they're not voluntarily recognizing it. So just putting that out there. Good luck. Good luck with that. Going to wrap it up. Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. We'll talk later.